How many people have heard of Etsy before you saw my bio? Not a lot of the women in the audience have heard of it. In the interest of full disclosure, I myself have never actually been a founder of a company. I've had the good fortune to work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and so I thought I would maybe share with you guys a little bit of my journey of how I've gotten to that point and what it's been like to work in these entrepreneurial environments. When I was about your age, I was told, funnily enough, time and again, oh, you're really great at math for a girl. And I thought, oh, great, this is exactly what I wanted to hear. And from that point on, I spent a lot of time trying to figure out like what that meant, what I should do about that. And when I went to university, as you can tell from my accent, I am originally American. We have a little bit more time to decide what to specialize in there. And I decided I really wanted to find something that combined the creativity and the analytical side of what I was being told I was good at. And so that's how I ended up doing civil engineering and architecture. And I thought I was going to be this great designer of bridges and buildings and things like that. And when I studied that, I had a real fondness for that combination of the analysis and the creativity. And then coming out of university is right when the web started. And that sort of took me on a completely different path. And what I've always found that I've loved about that, and I think is true of entrepreneurialism in particular within the web industry, is the ability to do things that people just simply haven't done before. You know, that's what I think continues to motivate me and where I make my decisions in my career is being able to take on, solve a problem for consumers, take on a business challenge that hasn't been solved before. And the reason that's fun is that allows for the creativity. You know, when I went into the web a million years ago, it was great because even people who were 10, 15, 20 years older than me and had lots of business experience, they hadn't done this before either. And so that left a lot of room for us to be experimental, to be creative in the way that we approached all aspects of the business. And I think for me, that's resonated in two main areas. One is in terms of how you approach solving a problem. So doing lots of little experiments, not being told exactly that this is how it's done and that's how we do it and that's how we've done it before. And on the other side, and I think Etsy is a brilliant example of this, is also the culture, the environment in which you work. Etsy, the founder, wasn't a programmer per se or a typical internet founder in many ways. He was coming from a perspective of wanting to find a place to buy and sell handmade goods, in particular the things he was making, but also to connect with people, with like-minded strangers who shared a passion for this. And born out of that is a company that has a very specific culture, you know, that is very different to even I think a lot of other internet companies. So the headquarters are in Brooklyn. Everything in the office is handmade. There's not a single, you know, desk from IKEA or lamp from a high street retailer. And that is another wonderful opportunity for creativity. Throughout my career, I've worked at very small companies. I think the other interesting thing about Etsy is not only Etsy as an entrepreneurial opportunity, but what Etsy does for other small businesses. So for those of you who don't know Etsy particularly well, it's an online marketplace for handmade and vintage goods, which means that we have 800,000 small businesses around the world, often and particularly one-person businesses that are either making or sourcing vintage goods and selling them online. And that's been a very rewarding experience of a different type of interaction with entrepreneurs. We have seller meetups here and in the US, and it's really opened my eyes, I think, and to the other types of entrepreneurialism. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a path where you go via a Y Combinator and you raise VC money, venture capital money, although that is a great path to pursue. But I think the internet opens up a lot of opportunities for people to be entrepreneurs of all types. And I'd encourage you guys to take a look at Etsy and at some of the sellers on the platform and some of the other independent creative businesses that are being created out of that. And I think I'll leave it at that and, again, answer questions at Q&A. Thank you.